Hello and welcome to the seminar in Media Informatics in the Winter Term 2020-2021. Herzlich willkommen zum Seminar Medieninformatik im Wintersemester 2020-2021. Ich werde diese einleitenden Worte einmal in einem englischsprachigen Video, das ist dieses, und in einem deutschsprachigen Video veröffentlichen. Das deutschsprachige Video kommt ein bisschen später, wer darauf warten möchte. Einfach im Learnweb gucken, bis die Ankündigung dort auch zu finden ist. Okay, so back to English for this introductory video. My name is Jörg Kassens. I'm going to teach this course. I'm a member of the Department of Computer Science. You can see the contact details on the screen. It includes my office, but of course, given the current situation, I'm mostly working from home anyway, so it's easier to either contact me by phone or even better by mail. From basically next week, at the time of publishing of this video, I will be having office hours again, Thursdays from around 12 o'clock. And you can make reservations for these office hours by going to the link at the screen, mi.krivi.de/meet, and and then you can arrange for a time slot for the office hours. Okay, so I will start off with talking a bit about the rules and regulations for this seminar, and I will start off with the workload. So the course is will be credited with 4 ECTS. That's equaling to 100 hours of workload. 1 ECTS point is worth about 25 hours of work. It's also a course which is defined as taking 2 hours weekly and has a targeted number of participants of 20, so that will be interesting to see. I saw in the registration is already much higher than that, so we see how that turns out this year. But if you take these numbers, then that boils down, so basically the workload and the participants and the time it takes for the participants to, for example, give talks, then you will end up with about 30 hours of course meetings, which includes this introduction, includes the topic presentation and choice of topics, and most importantly the presentations. And you will end up with about 70 hours self-study, which is reading papers, writing the term paper, etc. Now, this obviously targets face-to-face meetings usually, but it can also be can give you a hint of how the workload will turn out also in this online version. So that translates roughly to 4 to 6 hours per week. 6 hours if you want to do the whole course doing teaching time. And if you say, well, I want to write the term paper and maybe prepare the presentation in term break, and during term you will have about 4 hours, and then you have 1 more week to prepare the other stuff. What form and shape does the exam take in this course? It actually has 3 components. The 2 main components is the presentation, so you will give some kind of talk on a given subject. Then you will write a term paper, a scientific essay on the same topic. And the third part is active participation in the course, which basically includes enjoying discussions with your fellow peers, with your teammates in the course. Okay. Then very important also for every student is how many credits do I get and how can I can I put these credits, and if you look at the different study programs for this course in the Angewandte Informatik and EMIT, It's im Wahlbereich Gebiet Medieninformatik. If you go toward data analytics, it's in the elective modules application area, CS, computer science, media systems. If you go for Wirtschaftsinformatik, then that's Veranstaltung Master, Wahlbereich Wirtschaftsinformatik. And if you come from a totally different study program, well, that's basically up to decide for the relevant committees, so we can see. So if you are coming from another study program, just chat me up, and then we try to find a way of how you can make use of the credits here. Now, this course, actually within this course, we have a couple of seats reserved for system administration. So which was the topic area of system administration, not doing system administration. So I will also briefly go about that. It's a topic area basically targeting those people who have already done topics like algorithm and Protokolle fürs Internet or Systemadministration. And you can see how you can make use of the sysadmin topic part here on this slide. So going for the system administration part is really only makes sense for those who have started to do courses in system administration and internet technologies and want to continue in that topic area. And in order to give those of you who want to do that the chance to have a seminar, we have I just offer a couple of seats in the media informatics seminar, but mostly this is about media informatics. So media informatics, what is it all about? What are we going to do in this course content-wise now that we have the credits out of the way? Well, the easy part is starting with the what's described as learning outcomes in the course catalog. And there we have the students deepen their analytic and methodological competencies for the self-guided study of current research areas through writing a small paper, preparing and giving a talk, as well as joint discussions. The students' understanding of prior acquired knowledge is enhanced. In addition, methodological competencies are acquired that allow students to adjust their level of knowledge to changing technological developments or needs of society. That's a bit of a mouthful with the needs of the society at the end, which is important to keep in mind, obviously. But if we go a bit more towards the basics, so this is not a course where you usually start getting into a certain topic area. So it's more like you have already acquired a certain body of knowledge, and this is about training how to make use of that acquired body of knowledge to understand new research and to fit the new research you are reading about within your own knowledge structures. And so it's basically following a standard approach of dealing with new research. So you are invited to read academic papers on a specific topic and gain an understanding of the issues described in that paper by making use of the knowledge you already have. So there are several aspects here. So you have to train your methodological competencies. How do I do that? How do I gain new knowledge from existing knowledge? What analytic competencies do I need? How can I guide my study? And we do this here by focusing on specific aspects and specific topics, and discuss what we find out with other people as well. So that's another important aspect, that if you gain new knowledge, you want to be able to share that knowledge with other people, and you want to be available for critical discourse and all these. That's basically the part of what we are trying to do here in this course when it comes to the learning outcomes. How that will happen, what the methods are. Well, actually, if you have taken seminars before, it's probably not too surprising, but I will cover that in a bit more detail later on. So the number of slots, the number of seats in the seminar is kind of limited. So for the last couple of years, we usually manage to well, get everybody in, but it really depends. In this term, it's very hard to predict what is going to happen. There are many people who are already registered for the course, but we will have to see how many actually want to pick a topic afterwards. But if it really gets complicated, then there are certain prioritizations for the number of slots in the seminar. So the first one is the number of courses in the area of media informatics that you have already successfully completed. So in order to make it possible for those who have already done a lot of work in media informatics to dig even a little bit deeper, then the tiebreaker here is the special circumstances. So if you are working in the university self-governance institutions or are a parent, then that would be something which comes into play here. Then the year of study, the highest semester wins. So those who have already spent a bit more time here should be given the opportunity to finish up this area. And then the tiebreaker here is at the end the coin toss. It never really came to that so far in this seminar. Now, if you do this course as a system administration seminar, then that gets a bit extended. So for system administration, because we have more master seminars than bachelor seminars, bachelor students will actually have a higher priority than master students. And for system administration, there are actually minimal requirements, hard requirements you have to fulfill. So if you want to take the bachelor seminar, then you have to have completed at least the Systemadministration 1 or Systemadministration 2. Usually it's an and here, but given that last term, summer term, the Systemadministration 2 did not happen, and the general situation is a bit more difficult anyway. I've relaxed that to an or. And if you want to do the master course, you have to have at least one of the courses, Angewandte Kryptographie und Datensicherheit, or Algorithmen und Protokolle für das Internet. So you have to have at least one of these courses I just mentioned to be eligible for admission in the system administration part at all. And because I can't check that, we have to look at the transcript of records for checking whether you actually fulfill these minimal requirements. So I already talked about it a bit, but here it is in one slide, so you have it. You can go for it to remember. How is the exam actually structured? The first one is there are several things you have to do to stay in the course. The first one is to deliver an abstract of the term paper. Abstract is a very complicated sounding thing here. It basically means that you have a general idea what you want to do with your topic. It can be very short. Half a page is in many cases enough. That has to be delivered before Christmas, and it shows that you have actually started to look at the topic area, at the content. Then you have to do a presentation in the course, and given that this is a distance learning course this time, and I want to do it in a asynchronous way so that we don't have to meet at specific times, I will do something which I have, which was actually, I think, quite successful in the last seminar, where we actually had to turn online before we could complete the whole seminar. And that is that you will prepare an electronic presentation. You can do a video, you can do a podcast, you can do a voiceover for slides animation, you can film yourself standing in front of a whiteboard, you can film the whiteboard. So it's in a way it's more open for creative choices than the standard talks, which actually usually boil down to some kind of PowerPoint or Beamer LaTeX presentation anyway. So you have to make this video, and that has to be uploaded in Learnweb, in the Learnweb course. It will be made available to the other participants, and then the other part of the exam is the regular attendance of the course. And attendance here means not that you have to just I'm not measuring online hours or something like that, but that you take part in discussions on the presentations given by your peers. And these discussions will take the shape of a forum thread in the Moodle, in our Learnweb forum. So regular attendance is here translated that you really have to ask questions and comment on at least 2/3 of the other presentation. And the fourth requirement in the exam is delivery and marking of a term paper. So each participant will cover an individual topic, and there are actually two ways of doing that course. One is what you probably is more of the standard way, that you start with a scientific paper, an academic paper which has been given to you. That's what I call exam by study, or actually you start with a paper proposal made by yourself, which I refer to as exam by research, and I will go in a bit more detail in a sec as well. If you want to know more about the evaluation criteria, the exam grade consists basically of two grades, one for the term paper and one for the presentation, both in equal proportions. And for example, the part on attendance of the course discussion, that's part of the presentation grade. Both presentation and term paper have to be at least of passing grade, so you can't just say, okay, I did a brilliant presentation, full marks here, I don't have to do anything, I just deliver something. And if you fail the term paper, then you can't pass the course at all. Active participation is required and can be taken into consideration, actually is taken into consideration for the grade. You will need to register for the exam, and so that's basically, if you want to know more details about the evaluation criteria, look at the handouts for this slide deck. There's a bit more detailed version of what I'm looking for in presentations, what I'm looking for, what are my criteria when looking at term papers. So yeah, look at the handout version. Now, as I said before, the way of doing a seminar you're probably most familiar with is the exam by study. Here you will be given at least one, maybe more original scientific paper, and that's your base literature, your starting point. It's the entry point to a topic area, and you will need to consult other literature as well. But for example, the list of references of the base literature is a good starting point, and you can also look at other papers who have cited this one article you are reading right now. So that's the starting point for further research. And when it comes to the term paper, there's a template for the term paper which is available both as a LaTeX and a word processor file. The LaTeX file is actually the one which is the most documented one. So even if you use the word processor, I don't know why you would, but even if you use a word processor, you should consult the PDF file which is generated out of the LaTeX file to get more hints about what I'm expecting in this kind of paper. And this template has to be used. Students sometimes got a bit too creative in dealing with I don't know, margins and font sizes, so it gets very hard to check that actually the fairness, right? That everybody is working on equal ground. So I just started to require this template, and you will be downgraded if you don't use it. Full stop. And the form and the content of the paper will be graded. Now the other option is exam by research. Let's say you already did an interesting bachelor thesis in the area of media informatics, in the area of AI, in some design or human-computer interaction part, and you think that's something you should write up for a conference or a workshop. Then this seminar could actually be the starting point for that, or help you get credits for that kind of work as well. So you propose a scientific paper to be written to me, and in the proposal you talk about what do you want to talk about, what is the project, what is the thesis you have already worked on. And you can also suggest workshops or conferences to submit the paper to, but I will be able to help you with that. And I will look at this. You suggest that to me. I will look at your proposal, and if accepted, you're basically writing a paper you would be writing for a scientific conference or a workshop as well. And so you just follow the academic standards, in particular when it comes to other literature. So it's not only about your own work, but you have to put it in context. And you will be writing it in a template as well. So we are here using the Cur Art template. Cur is a platform for workshop proceedings, and they have their own template, a very nice template for scientific articles. And yeah, you write a paper of 12 pages in that style. And if everything works out, then we will see whether it can be submitted to some kind of workshop or conference. Although it's not required that you are accepted for presentation at that conference. Now this part, exam by research, is only possible if you do it the seminar for media informatics. That's not available for system administration. And I would recommend that you still choose a topic like the exam by study just as a fallback, because sometimes we have had cases in the past where people started off with the exam by research but found out that they did struggle with it, so they switched back to exam by study. So I really suggest that you have that at least as a fallback situation. Now I already talked about the presentation. It will have a duration of about 30 minutes. It's up to you how it's going to look like, what form, what shape it takes. You could do some artistic dance, some expressive dance of your, if that fits the topic area. It's really opening, I think, for more creative choices as well. The basic hard requirement is it has to be accessible as a video within Learnweb. And again, form and content will be graded, and the performance in the following discussion of your own presentation will be taken into account as well. Now, going towards the course outline, we have basically 3 different phases. We start with the topic finding phase, which is basically where we are right now. So different topics are presented, and you get a list of different topics, and you basically look at them and you rate them on a Likert scale, and then we will assign topics based on in what hopefully is a somewhat fair process. I will assign the topics based on your individual ratings of these papers. The second phase is about academic literacy. So that's not a compulsory part of this course, but so if you have done maybe you did a degree, a bachelor's degree somewhere where they really give you a lot of opportunity to develop skills in academic literacy, and you have done, this is your Amtin's seminar anyway, and you think you don't want to go through that all again. But for those who are interested, if there is enough interest actually, we will have some lectures on different topics, which is basically that I would talk about how to present ideas, how to read, how to find articles, and how to write your own papers as well. And the third phase is presentations, and these will happen in 2 blocks. You can either do the presentations at the end of teaching time or at the end of term. And as I said, participation in forum discussions, that's also a compulsory part of that. Now, presentation slots, I said that there are 2 different blocks. We don't have to find specific. We don't have to find ways to distribute a limited number of slots to different people. That's also a very nice thing about doing a seminar and this kind. So what we basically do, and it's I don't have to have a program ready way in advance, and if you want to change dates, everything gets complicated. So that's much more relaxed. This term actually, so there will be 1 block in January during teaching time, at the end of teaching time, and then basically in March, towards the end of March, is another block, and you register your presentation for one of these blocks by uploading your presentation a couple of days before the session starts. If you miss the January block for whatever reasons, you can still make use of the second block. If you miss the second block, then you have to retake the seminar with a new topic during the next installment. Unless there are some cases of hardship, we will always try to find ways to accommodate for problems you might encounter which you are not responsible for. In that case, we would require some proof. So, for example, a certificate of incapacity for work would be fine to just say, okay, so we're not able to do the presentation, but we will find another way of doing it. The term paper has to be delivered at the end of the term, basically at the last day of term. That's a deadline for that paper. Now, I already hinted about the topic assignment. How are we going to do this? Well, there is no inherently fair way to distribute topics, because what is inherently fair, the notion of fairness is already something which is not, which can be discussed from different perspective, different ethics taken into account, for example. So, is it fair if you take social circumstance into account? Is it fair if you take whatever other reasons into account? There is a whole theory about, basically it's impossible to do elections which are fair in every regard we usually would expect from political elections. There's a whole theory about that, social choice theory. So it's not about Trump or Biden here, but it's about a topic for your seminar. And there is no inherently, totally, in every respect, fair way of doing it, but we want to try to make it as fair as possible. And usually I would to do some kind of randomness by giving you basically a lottery who's going to pick the topics first. But since we are doing it online anyway, and it's a bit hard to make you draw numbers, we actually try out a plugin of Moodle which is called Fair Assignment. So what will happen is that you get the list of topics and you will get access to the underlying articles. And then you basically have a week to scan the papers, not in the sense of putting it on a copy machine, but in the sense of reading through the most interestingly sounding ones. And in Learnweb, then you can, for every paper, you can rate your interest, your willingness to do that on a 6-point Likert scale. So starting at 0, I do not want to do this paper at all, to 5, oh, this is one of my favorite papers. That paper rating will stop about 1 week after the articles have been made available. And then the algorithm, which is now, I think, the fancy word to describe these kind of things, will assign articles on some kind of on some notion of graph fairness and evenness in graphs, and probably I will need some manual tweaking afterwards. We'll see. So, but this is an experiment. We'll see how that works for this rather large number of different topics. So I'm very curious whether that actually beats the standard way of doing it. Now, in order to, I said in the beginning that there's a limited number of slots. We will see how difficult that actually will be, because in my experience, people sign up for different seminars, look at the topics, but they don't necessarily then go through with all the seminars. They just wanted to take a look at the topics before they make a decision. So we'll see how many people will actually sign up for the topics. But if there is a shortage of slots, then you should also indicate which courses in media informatics you have already done, or system administration for those who are doing the system administration sub-course. And for that, there will also be some assignment in Learnweb where you can do that. I will try to accommodate as many people as possible, but of course I also have to make sure that at least a small number of seats is reserved for system administration. Okay, so what about the content? There will be a detailed topic overview in its own slide set, its own slide deck. It doesn't really make sense for me to go through the articles because there's quite a few of them, and you probably don't really are not much wiser at the end. So the best way is really look at the slide deck or the handout version respectively, which is a much better choice, which has all the abstracts of the different articles sorted into some kind of categories. These will be made available in Learnweb Thursday after kickoff. So for the media informatics course, that will be the 29th of October. There will be the opportunity to have a quick chat at the day of the kickoff and for both seminars. And I want to take feedback, specific wishes which come out during that kickoff meeting in Big Blue Button into account before I finalize the list. That's why the topics will be available one day later than the kickoff itself. So. Okay, what kind of information sources do you have to, or should you make use of? the most important one obviously is Learnweb. So if you haven't registered for the course, do it now. You might have stumbled upon this video on some other means. I don't know how, but so that's Learnweb. Please register for the course. The LSF is not really important afterwards. It's important now in order for me to have an overview of who is actually registered for the course, who wants to take it. But basically, after you moved from LSF to Learnweb, LSF goes into the background and will only become important again when you register for the exam, which you have to do. And that's both for the, and here we really have two different seminars. Learnweb, everything is in one Learnweb course, but in LSF System Administration and Media Informatics are two different courses. Usually I also put a lot of my slides, etc. up at the mi.krivi.de website. I already mentioned that for the /meet for the getting an appointment for the office hours. Because we are doing an online course this term again, I am kind of a bit reluctant to make too much use of that because I don't want to fragment the information sources, so I will not be updating the Krivi website with new slide decks, for example, but you can of course still make use of that website in order to gain access to the templates I was talking about, the templates for the paper. There was also templates for presentations, but presentations you don't have to use the template, the media informatics template. Do whatever floats your boat here. Wrapping up, the most important thing is going through the different dates, maybe one more time. So Wednesday the 28th is the kickoff for media informatics. The day after, the papers will be online, and then you basically have 1 week to the 6th of November to get to do a quick read, a quick skim of the different articles and rate them. And we will have another round of big blue button meetings on the 30th of October. Now these sessions are called questions, comments, remarks sessions. They will happen on big blue button, but they are not compulsory, and if nobody shows up, they will be over after 5 minutes. So it's really important. It's really giving you the opportunity to talk to me in virtual person, but I'll make use of the Learnweb forums, etc. So then after the 6th of November, I will hopefully have some kind of topic assignment ready the next couple of days before we then start with the kickoff for the sysadmin seminar. Basically the same setup, kickoff, papers online the day after, a question, comments, and remarks session on Big Blue Button, and then about a week after the topics became were made available, you have to have made your choice, and afterwards the topic will be assigned. That's basically then the end of November, and then we have 3 Wednesdays in December where I will be, if enough interest given, I will give well, basically upload some video about different aspects of doing a seminar. Like the first one is looking at the literature research, how to do that, what's important, how to read a scientific article. Then one aspect is about presenting your own scientific work in a meaningful way, and then the last one is about documentation, and this in this sense is how to write your basically your media informatics thesis with a specific eye towards seminar papers. That will be on the 16th of December, which is then also the day where you have to deliver your abstracts. As I said, that's basically about, yes, I started looking at the literature and I have an understanding of what I'm going to do. And then we will have hopefully peaceful Christmas and New Year's break of this weird 2020, and we'll start with a, unfortunately, probably not less weird 2021. Starting, we have another Big Blue Button non-compulsory session on the 13th of January, where you can ask questions and talk about what you did over the Christmas break, because the week after, which is basically 2 weeks, 3 weeks after you came back from the Christmas break, you have to have your video presentations done if you want to take the slot in the first session, and those will be uploaded to Learnweb then at the 23rd of January, and you will have a week and a bit to discuss that till Monday the 1st of February, and that's basically in the week of the last week with lectures before the exam period starts after the 5th of February. Basically the same setup minus the Big Blue Button session will happen again. Oh, there's I see that's there's a typo here at the slides. Hopefully I will fix that for the uploaded version. So in March, it's the 17th of March, you have to deliver your video presentations again. They will be made available for discussion 3 days later at Saturday the 20th of March, and then basically the 29th, a week and a bit later, the discussion phase ends again. And the last day of term, 31st of March, which happens to be a Wednesday. Wednesday is the central day for this seminar. The term papers are due. So if you look at the different symbols, you can also see what they refer to, what different of activities they refer to when you go over the slide deck or look at the handout version. Okay, that's it. My name is Jörg Kassens. Thank you for your attention so far. Important, again, register in Learnweb for email updates and to get the links to Big Blue Button session, etc. Look for the topics to be uploaded on Thursday after the kickoff. Look at the articles which are interesting for you, and use the Likert scale. And I'm not going to give you any tips about how to assign your points. We just probably want to make sure that you're not too focused on just one area, so that if one area is these papers are hard to get, that you still end up with something you actually enjoy doing. But I can't give you any hints on whether it's better to just assign this is my fave, or is it or to say I don't want to do it at all. So these are kind of that's the act, the part of randomness or gaming, which is still part of the topic assignment process. Okay, that's it. Thanks for your attention, and hope to see you in some shape or the other during the course of the term, and have fun so far. Bye.